With the coaches clinic this weekend. First off, how is that enriching the coaching staff and getting to meet all the high school coaches around?
Yeah, I thought that was a great experience, man. Putting on that coaches summit, having all of the local high school coaches and junior colleges come out there. Thought it was a really good event. Getting to talk more football, getting to talk more fundamentals more than scheme and things like that. I thought we had a really good showing, and I look forward to that event in the future.
And of course, piggybacking off of that, and the players getting to experience that as well. How have you felt the first few weeks of camp have gone? From the break and onward.
Yeah, I thought we've been having really solid practices just from an overall team standpoint. Year or two, guys know the scheme, so they're allowed to go play more faster. We're able to coach more technique and fundamentals more than scheme. So I thought we've had some really good practices. Coach mentioned it today, probably took a step back a little bit today, but we just got to come out, we got to flush it, watch the film, and then come back out on Wednesday and be ready to execute.
And in the specifics of this wide receiver crew, which we know is a pretty veteran group coming back, a lot of guys you can work with again on a consecutive year basis. The advantage of that as a coach, or what kind of habits do you have to knock from some of these guys too as you get ready in the spring camp?
Right, like you mentioned, a veteran group. Really only lost probably 2 guys, right? So returning all of those guys. So, the expectation now is just to go out and to perform, and to execute. Again, like I said, it shouldn't be so much more schematics. Right now it's going out, winning one-on-one matchups, executing at a high level. So, it's a blessing and a curse to have a veteran group. You got some young guys that you still have to coach, but for the veteran guys, I allow those guys to kind of coach themselves. Josiah Freeman, obviously being a super veteran guy, he takes a lot of the lead in that, and just being an on-field coach, being my second counterpart and echoing some of the things that I say. So it's really been a pleasure, though. I thought we've been doing fine.
You mentioned Josiah. He mentioned you when we talked to him about why he stayed at Fresno State instead of going to Ole Miss. Talk about the conversation you had with him when that option became possible for him.
Yeah, it's a different landscape now. These guys are getting opportunities to change their lives financially, and me and Josiah just sat down and I said, you just got to weigh the pros and the cons, right? Look at it, what's beneficial to you, what's not, and I thought he sat down, he did that with his family, and that was mainly the topic of our conversations. Just weigh the pros and cons and make the best decision for you, and fortunate to have him stay, and I'm glad he's here.
I know that it's good to have retention, and you have retention with McLean, back, Abbott involved, but tell me, why is it good?
Yeah, it's good just because, like you said, just that experience, that veteran experience. Now you can rely on those guys to go out consistently week in and week out and make plays. A veteran group, obviously the expectation is more than. Right now, the assignment errors aren't acceptable, right? Dropping the football isn't acceptable, right? You guys are a veteran group, so I expect you to make plays consistently every single day.
And David said he wants the offense to be more explosive. That's the only way to win a championship. How did the receivers do that?
Yeah, I think we just continue to do what we're doing and execute. You got to play to the strengths of the offense, right? You got to play to the strengths of the players and the coaching staff. We also have to be on cue with that and make the right calls and push the ball downfield. But when we get the opportunities, make them count. I don't think it's so much necessarily always pushing the ball down the field. I think one of the things I've harped on is run after catch and come into life, right? We have to take a 6-yard catch and turn it into 20 yards, right? We have to take a 10-yard catch and turn it into 50 yards. And then when we do get those opportunities down the field, winning the matchups. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Coach, you said a step back today. What do you mean by that? What's the expectation for growth day-to-day?
Yeah, we have a standard around here, and it's a championship standard every single day. And, we kind of got into the guys thought that they can just come out here and go through the motions, and we experienced that Colorado State game. It was very similar. So that's what I said to the guys. I said it felt just like that. We thought we could just come out here and go through the motions and we would have a good practice, and that's not acceptable, right? The standard is the standard every single day. Rain, sleet, sun, shine, whatever it is, right? There's a standard, and we got to meet that.
With it just being the spring too, how do you kind of keep that standard, keep the motivation throughout these last couple of practices?
Yeah, you just get these guys to buy into a process and understanding that it's a day-by-day process. You can't look at the big picture and be looking forward to the spring game or looking forward to USC week 1. It's a day-by-day process. So every single day you got to come out here and execute.
Share about the process of recruiting Xavier Owens and what kind of athlete he is now that he's here.
Yeah, it was fun, man. So Xavier had a relationship with him, obviously, because he's from the Los Angeles area, so we know some of the same coaches. And then he went out there to Louisiana and played ball. But I thought our relationship prevailed, having a really good relationship with him and his high school coaches and things like that. And then just selling development. That's what I sell to guys. I'm not selling glitz. I'm not selling glamour. I'm selling development. I'm selling books and balls, and we're glad to have him.
How high of a ceiling do you think he has?
I think he has a very high ceiling, man. A young guy with tremendous ball skills. He's got to put on some weight, got to put on some size. But, again, ball skills through the roof. Football IQ is really high, so I think he's going to have a good future.
Does having a new quarterback room change the way that you do things as a wide receiver coach?
I don't think it changes things. I think that's more so on those guys to go out and build chemistry, right? To throw when they're on a Saturday morning or a Wednesday night to go out and build chemistry with those quarterbacks. I don't think it's so much me doing anything different, just those guys having that bond and that chemistry.
Coach, who's a returner that has made a big jump in the offseason?
I think all the guys have really done a good job. Honestly, I've been really impressed with Jordan Malaulu. I think he's come a long way. He was always just more of a hair-on-fire guy. He was going to go out and play 1,000 miles an hour, kind of make some mistakes. But now he's developing into a complete receiver. He's understanding how to create separation, how to use his hands, and how to make plays. So I've been really impressed with him. But all the guys have been stepping up.
Have you seen a difference in Josiah Freeman's motivation after getting that extra year of eligibility?
I wouldn't say a different motivation. I think he still has that same hunger and that same chip to understand, like, okay, I didn't go with that opportunity, so I got to make this work. And he understands that. He goes about it the right way. He's super mature, a professional guy, so I think he'll be just fine.
You had a former teammate make some headlines this weekend. Any thoughts on what Josh Hokett did?
Yeah, that was crazy, man. I saw that fight. I'm a big UFC guy, too, so, I thought it was interesting the way he went about it, the different characters and everything. I love it. That's really Josh Hokett, but, man, that was a crazy fight. He went out there and stood toe-to-toe, so I'm excited to see him on that UFC White House card now, right, against, what's the guy, Derek Lewis, so I think that'll be exciting for sure.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.